Good morning, everyone. My name is Na Akua, and I am so happy to be with you today. But first, I want to start off with giving a land acknowledgement of where we are. It is important to understand that land acknowledgement is not a practice developed by colonial institutions. Rather, land acknowledgement is a traditional indigenous custom dating back generations. For non-indigenous communities to provide land acknowledgement shows their respect and honoring the indigenous peoples of the land in which we all work and live. Land acknowledgement is a simple way of resisting the erasure of indigenous histories and work towards honoring and inviting the truth. We acknowledge that we gather today on the ancestral land of the first peoples of this area, the Northwest Coast and the Coast Salish peoples, past, present, and future. We honor with gratitude on which we will build and reside, and we honor the first peoples who have stewarded these lands and waters since time immemorable. We acknowledge their continued presence, contributions, and heritage. And we acknowledge that we as a community are caretakers of this land for all beings and all generations to come. So with that, I wanted to do something a little different before I start sharing my words. And I would like to give an affirmation or affirmations to your digital equity livelihood. Life Force 289. It will be all worth it in the end. Life Force 291. Sometimes we are forced to stop and take time to clarify. And Life Force 292. You are here for a reason. There is grit and grind. There are open hearts and wide open eyes. There are 12 a.m. thoughts and 5 a.m. alarms. There are bullhorns, policies, and organizing, and organizing, and organizing. There is passion and relentless love. There is making people care again when many have forgotten. There is forgetting self-care, self-love, and self. There is rest, receive, recharge, repeat. There is rest, receive, recharge, repeat. There are artists and activists. There is patience in the doubt and hope. There is an intuition rising through the chaos. There are tears, distrust, and decoys. There is learning. There is learning. There are lessons to be learned. There is a process. There is a purpose. There is an ancestor who has whispered your name. There is an elder telling you to keep going. There is a member of the community that uses your persistence as fuel. There is say what you mean and mean what you say. There is a commitment even when everyone isn't committed. There is time, there are tools, there is something bigger than you. Imagine it not costing anything, that you can enjoy civil and political rights, that you are free from outside domination, that you are not judged by your nature or your being. You are able and capable to choose. You are relieved from lack, especially anything that is burdensome. You are not bound, confined or detained by force. There are no restrictions, no system that is opposed to you. As you move through this world, you are not committed to any obligations or commitments. You are not refused, blocked, or turned away by the structure of qualifications. You are not being used or occupied. You are not being hampered with or impeded. You are able to perform your beingness and without any apparatus. There is no bondage here. You are moving and turning in any and every direction. You are the wind that blows. You are the rain that falls. You are the birds that eat. You are the sun that shines, and you are the moon that beams. You are free. You are free. You are free. Freedom. Freedom feels like no pressure, but all purpose. Freedom tastes like the biggest pot on the stove that will feed a multitude. Freedom smells like the burning incense flying through the air, casting out all negativity. Freedom sounds like committed intentions arriving to their full potential. Freedom looks like no one gets left behind. Freedom holds space. Freedom allows others to find themselves in the process. Freedom understands equity. Freedom understands equity. Freedom holds a conference on the topic of who forgot the actual definition. Freedom doesn't want to be misunderstood. Freedom is coined an activist. Freedom remembers the stories that were passed down about who was the first that wanted to be free. Freedom should not be misused. Freedom is a birthright. Freedom tries to remember its own birth. Freedom wants so many to stop making so many excuses and so many threats. Freedom never really enjoyed the spotlight. Freedom just wants to be. Freedom is being. And just being. That is freedom. As we continue on with words, got a few more for you.
Yes, keep going now. Listen, I'm sitting here feeling real free, okay? Keep it up. This is
feel it.
Yeah, I feel it.
Okay.
I feel it. Yes, keep it going.
Give me foundation where there are no cracks left to creep. Give me leverage so my hands can be the judge of what is called an even plane. Give me conversation, a human connection that is deemed ancient but yet has been tethered. Give me honesty. Oh, you are such a fragile thing. Give me time, where the access to render quality is guarded and encouraged to give. See, to give means to freely transfer the possession of something to someone. What a chance that freedom gives. Such an oxymoron to the pulling up of bootstraps. The unanswered questions. If souls have worn out, have laces unraveled, and have straps been cut off. Oh, I see you. I see you. And I lend this hand so you may not be cut off from your dignity. So let us share this foundation and let us cement the cracks with the honesty of our conversation.
Beautiful.
Beautifully said. Well said. Wow. That's
wow.
awesome.
Everybody, let's snap it up for Nah. Listen, you had me over here in Zen, like, who?
I'm like, it's early. It's early enough that we should be in some type of Zen.
You're right. You're right. Like, I don't know how we might have woke up. You know, sometimes we wake up on the wrong side of the bed, but you put us on the right side. Okay.
And that's what I want you to be. Because when you're on the right side of the bed, that means you can be right to the community.
Yes. Okay. We talking about digital equity and the business of community. And we can't be right for the community if we ain't waking up right, right? So we need those recordings. So when we wake up in the morning, we could just be like, what Nah say?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Yes, and I appreciate you all asking me to come and share this work. And digital equity is so important. It's so important in this day and age. And I'm really appreciative that we can even be here and be in this space and share these words and share these conversations. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Where can the people find more of you, or if they want to commission you, like where can they find your information? Like where should they go?
Okay, I have a website. Yay. So you can check out my website. That's www.naakua.com. Very simple. It's just my name.com, and you can find all that you need.
Thank you so much, Nah. We appreciate you. I believe you might be coming back later, but this has been really calming for me, just listening to your voice, listening to your words, and I hope that it translated to everybody else in this digital world like it did for me. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Peace.
Listen, everybody. Like she said, this is freedom. She told us, right? She acknowledged this land. She acknowledged the things that we are doing. Look at that. First clue in doing public speaking, get the gum out your mouth, okay? Anyways, I am here to welcome you all. I'm excited. I've been up since super early because that's how excited I am for this business resource open house and the conversation around digital equity. We have some amazing, amazing speakers. In addition to our speakers, we have interpretation. So we want to make sure that we are inclusive and that we are speaking this thing on a level and in a language that we all can relate to. And so it's not just about us speaking in English and thinking that everybody's going to get it, but we have interpretation for you all to get it. But before I introduce our interpreters, I want to say one thing. Share, share, share. What your mama taught you when you was 2, when you said, mine, share. Share the stream. We have several different ways for you to share the stream. If you are watching us live on Facebook, thank you. Reshare, because there's other folks that need to get this information. Digital equity is a huge topic that we should be talking about, okay? So reshare the stream. We are streaming live on 3 different platforms. So we are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on LinkedIn. So reshare the stream. If you don't know how, type in the chat right now. How do I reshare the stream? Okay, so I'm going to introduce you all to I see John is rushing me right now, like, girl, keep it moving. But I'm going to introduce you all to our interpreters. They are going to tell you which language they speak. And then at the bottom of your screen, if you are here in the Zoom, all you have to do is go to the bottom and click on the interpretation that you would like to hear. So the first interpreter that I'm going to introduce is Levine.
Oh, Levine, could you come to the English channel, please? Thank you.
Uh-oh, I thought you were turning them off, John.
Oh, and Jennifer Ness, you need to go to the English channel to hear them too. So everybody who is speaking English or hearing English, look for the interpretation on the bottom, just to the right of the share screen button, and choose English. Now let's try again, Levine, and I bet Jennifer Ness can hear you this time.
Thank you so much. And next we have Linda. Thank you, Linda. And then next we have Iris. Iris. Thank you all so much. You can definitely go to your channels. So today we have Spanish, we have Chinese, and we have Vietnamese. So if either of those languages sound better to you than my beautiful voice, go right ahead to those channels and make sure that you are listening to us in the language that makes sense to you. Okay. So English, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese. Okay. So I want to welcome the amazing folks who have been putting on the Business Resource Open House for years. We went virtual and we decided, okay, we got to figure this thing out after being in person for years. So I want to introduce you first to Jay Lyman with Seattle Public Libraries.
Thank you, Jennifer Ness. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited for this event, and thank you all for making this happen. This is just such a team effort, and there's so many pieces to this. And I hope that everyone will leave with things that are valuable to you in each of you. So thank you all for being here this morning.
Thank you, Jay. We appreciate you and all the hard work that you put into these events. Next, we have Angela. Welcome, Angela.
Angela Castaneda, Director of Beacon Business Alliance and also co-founder member of SS Collective. That's Essential Southeast Seattle Collective. Some of the other folks are here today. I just wanted to also give a shout out to the speakers that we have with us today, who are daily doing the work of assessing and addressing issues around digital equity. There's a lot of passion. There's a lot of just dogged work to address the issues on so many different fronts. I'm excited to be working with the team here and producing this. I'd like to introduce also John Chen, who I'll hand it off to do a little bit about the technical side of this. John?
Thank you.
All right. Hey there. I'm John Chen. I'm a 54-year-old Asian male with black hair and sporting a cool new red shirt that I got in the pandemic. I'm the author of a book called Engaging Virtual Meetings, and you right now are in the Business Resource Open House. To me, one of the most technically advanced meetings. Today, we're talking about digital equity, and many of the features that we're using today, if you have a Zoom account, are included. They don't cost anything extra. And so that's what we're doing, is using these features. Simultaneous interpretation, also featuring today, if you turn the captions on, we have a live captioner, which means that they are 100% accurate as opposed to the computer generated ones. That's another way. And just to give you a little behind the scenes, this is how much technology we're using to make this all happen. I love that Jennifer Ness is here on the main screen right here. That's amazing. And that's what we're doing. We're just showing, a lot of this stuff used to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, but basically you have the power of a television station if you have a phone or a computer, and we just want to show you how. So back to you, Jennifer Ness.
Thank you so much, John and Angela and Jay. Listen, if you haven't already done so, it is so important for you to re-share. Share. Keep sharing, okay? So that's gonna be super duper important. John told you how we're doing this, and he gave you a little bit of the behind the scenes. I wanna make sure that you all understand what's gonna happen today. So if you are not inside the Zoom, if you're watching us live, you have an opportunity to join the Zoom, because after our panel discussions, we are going into breakouts. And those breakouts is really where the magic happens. It's where you get to meet folks. It's where you get to exchange information. And so you have the opportunity to join us in the Zoom if you are on one of these social media platforms. So we're going to drop the link right now. It is not too late for you to join us in the Zoom. You're going to get a much greater experience inside the Zoom because, again, we are cutting the feed once we go out into our breakout rooms and start to really connect, right? So this is the business of community, and we can't have that if we're just talking to you, talking at you, and you're not talking to us and we're not truly connecting, okay? So that is what's happening. If you want to, please join us. If not, if you just want to hear the breakouts, that's awesome too. If you are on any of the social media platforms and you're hearing things that you want to know more about, please ask your question because we are monitoring those things. We have John looking at all the different streams and monitoring everything. So be social there as well. Don't feel like, oh, I'm on the social media world, so I can't interact. Yes, you can. Okay. So the next person I want to introduce you all is Mari. Oh my goodness. If you've ever been to Business Resource Open House, then you already know who Mari is. Hey girl. How you doing?
I'm so happy to see you and to be and I'm still soaking from the Na poetry.
Yes. Hello. I was sitting here like, okay. I know you probably already put something on there, didn't you? Let us see what you did.
Yeah, the brain's still waking up in a beautiful way. So I'm grateful that we got the recordings, but we got, what's up, Na? There's your face.
Yes. Ooh.
Well, incense vibe. So just soaking in, and what I'll be doing is listening to the conversation today and charting it into some of visuals. And so what is the visual metaphors of how do we understand and really root equity, this digital equity into our bodies? And so it's so beautiful to have that metaphorical field woven by Na with the acoustics. And so I'm going to work on weaving that with the visuals for y'all. So
Mari, that's a whole vibe right there. Like you got it going up in smoke, like digital equity. Like y'all, you got me over here like, okay. I love it. Listen, if you all do not know, Mari is going to create this amazing image that you all will have access to at the end. So we will definitely zoom in and spotlight her throughout, or spotlight them throughout, and making sure that you get to see as this thing is coming to fruition, because that's the beauty of digital equity, right? It's the beauty of us being able to see things as they're happening. Like we weren't doing this 20 years ago, okay? We didn't even have interactive boards 20 years ago. So super excited about you and you being here, and thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate you. Now we are going to get into our very first panel. Oh my goodness. Listen, we have some amazing folks, some amazing things in store for you all. So I want to introduce our panelists. Our first panelist is Toby Thomas. Toby Thomas. Hello, Toby. Please come on and introduce yourself.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I have to say, I started out with real low energy coming into this, but you guys have pumped me up.
For sure. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
So I'm Toby. I work at the Seattle Public Library. I've worked here for about almost 17 years. But in the most recent iteration of my job, I work as a librarian in the Community Engagement and Economic Development Department, and I work with Nadia and Jay. We're all in the same department.
Okay,
wonderful. As a librarian, I'm supporting digital literacy programs and the digital access, the hotspot program.
Ooh, wonderful. Hotspot program. We're going to get more into that later.
Yeah.
Next, we have Giselle Segud. This is my good sister friend. Hey, Giselle, introduce yourself.
Hi, Jennifer, and good morning, everybody. Well, I'm really excited for today because, digital equity is a big thing. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm more excited with the panel that I'm in right now. I mean, yes. SPL is the best team to be at. And so again, I'm Giselle Segid. I'm from the Washington Small Business Development Center, and my sister twin Jennifer, who is a big ally of anything digital and equity and exclusiveness. And so looking forward for the discussion today.
Tell a little bit about the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center.
Oh, Vanessa, you could speak better than me on that one, right? But anyway, so we provide no cost technical assistance to small business owner. And you know what? Digital equity is probably one of the most asked question from a lot of small business communities, especially the underserved communities. Access and the digital learning, which I will be discussing later. Why is it really so important for small businesses to know all these things, especially this time?
Yes, thank you, Giselle. Next, we have Nick Landry. Nick Landry. Welcome, Nick.
Nick was unable to be here with us, Jennifer, so let's introduce our next guest. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick is still on my screen. Nadia Brown. Hi, Nadia, from the Seattle Public Library.
Good morning, Jennifer. It's good
Good
to see
morning.
you.
Good to see you too. Let them know a little bit about you and your role, Nadia.
My name is Nadia Brown. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a part of an incredible team of people at the Seattle Public Library. As the outreach program manager, a big part of my work is finding ways to connect people who aren't necessarily able to come into the walls of the library with some of the great beneficial services, programs, and opportunities and connections and relationships that are possible, and that we are more than happy, more than excited and privileged to be able to share with our community.
Thank you, Nadia, and thank you for correcting me on saying your name, because listen, I like to say folks' name right. So
Right.
Before I turn to our panelists, I do have a question for the folks that are inside the Zoom. What resources are you currently using when it comes to digital equity and making sure that your business or whatever you're doing is actually equitable? So what are some of the resources you're using? If you can post that in the chat, I would love to see it. This is definitely interactive. So two things that this is going to be: interactive and high energy. Okay. So post in the chat. I'm just curious, who are some of the resources you use, or the organizations that you use to help you in this time? Okay. So Nadia, I want to start with you. Tell us about this hotspot program.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, at our 27 locations across the city, the Seattle Public Library has free public computers and Wi-Fi's in the building, but not everybody is able to come in and sit during the open hours to connect with all the opportunities that the internet and the support team of library staff affords. And so as a part of the Seattle Public Library's work around digital equity and inclusion, my team and I are stewards of this collection of Wi-Fi hotspots, and we lend them in partnership with Seattle-based community organizations and groups. So they're essentially portable internet that can be checked out just like a library book. And through this hotspot program that we have, people can borrow a small collection for up to 6 months at a time.
Say what now? Like how? I mean, this is just, first of all, it's news to me. I know that during the pandemic, we were able to see like there was such a divide, right? And people just needed access. And so you're telling me you can check out a hotspot and use it for up to 6 months. How many folks in the audience right now knew that you could do that? How many of y'all been paying $1,800 a month on your Wi-Fi? No, I'm just kidding. But Wi-Fi can be expensive nowadays. And internet is even more, not internet, but cable is even more expensive. But who qualifies for this program? Who has access to it? Do you have to have like a certain household income? Like who has access to it?
Yeah, well, we work with Seattle-based groups and organizations. And so the folks that we work with are really geared towards building power, skills, connection, well-being, and again, increasing access to opportunities within communities that are most impacted by the digital divide. So there's an equity focus on these hotspots, and the goal is for people to reduce barriers for people to have immediate access to an opportunity, and a community of support, relevant resources, and information, including information about pathways to more sustainable long-term opportunities to get access to the internet, and of course to be connected to the library. It's not for, this particular program isn't for individuals. Like you wouldn't be able to come into the library and say, I'd like a hotspot for 6 months, but we work in partnerships with some of the organizations that we are like privileged to work with in the city. who are really doing the work around digital equity, inclusion, and the well-being of our community.
How long has this program been in existence, and what are some of the trends that you're seeing?
Oh, sorry, I missed the second part of the question.
I said, how long has this program been in existence? What are some of the trends that you are seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe it's been since 2015.
Oh, wow.
Toby's given me the thumbs up around there. It's had several different iterations over that time period, but and one of the main things that we're seeing in the pandemic is that, you know, so many of the services and resources and ways to connect with people shifted online, and that is something that we've learned. People who were already disproportionately impacted had even more challenges staying connected to their peoples and being able to go through all of the processes, all of the steps that are necessary to get what they need to be well and to be engaged. And so our goal really is to offer a bridge, essentially, like a really low barrier, easy way to get connected, to kind of reduce some of those disparities that we're seeing.
Well, thank you for that, Nadia. I want to talk to Giselle. Nadia talked about some of the challenges, and I know that the Washington Small Business Development Center is dealing and speaking with entrepreneurs every day, multiple entrepreneurs a day. So I'm curious about what are some of the challenges that these entrepreneurs are experiencing when it comes to digital equity, and why is it important that we address the digital equity with the small businesses?
Well, the first thing really is access. I mean, they cannot have the digital, I mean, how to connect with the outside world without the connection. And I'm so happy about the hotspot program from Seattle Public Library. And you know what? I hope there are some library here from different counties that listen to Seattle Public Library doing. Because yeah, access is probably the biggest thing. I've spent afternoons, like some of my clients, telling them, can you go to the library? What's the nearest library that you have? And I'll wait for you until you get there. Because they're on the phone. I mean, we have access to smartphone, but not all of them doesn't know how to work with their smartphones. And so that's another thing that we're experiencing right now is, yes, they have access, but the digital learning, they don't know how to use the platform itself. And that's the tricky part is almost everybody have access to smartphone, but we are still on the desktop laptop phase. That we cannot integrate that learning process both ways. So that has been a challenge for a business advisor with what they have, the technology availability, the access to technology as well, probably is next to the digital equity. But because even if they have access to the internet, but they don't have the platform to be able to use, practice, and to utilize them, then that's still a struggle. So it should go hand in hand. And I'm so glad that the library was able to do that. And the nice thing is they do have the resources, they have this technology, and they have the right people who knows how to do stuff as well. So, you know, librarians are my biggest ally here. And not just librarian, I mean, the community colleges really help us well. But then again, there is that borderline too from a small business owner reaching out to a college that we still have to kind of like, you know, break it down a little so that it can be accessible to everybody.
I love that. Thank you, Giselle. I do recall, like, when you're meeting with clients, access goes deeper than connection to the Wi-Fi. Like you said, it's having the different platforms that are necessary for you to communicate effectively. And then with everybody being on Wi-Fi, sometimes it's super duper slow, or you get those times where you're like, you're like, wait a minute, is that me or is that you? I don't know what's going on right now. So what are the resources that are available to small businesses to help them survive in this digital world, you know, through whomever? Do you know of any resources?
Actually, that's the thing. I mean, probably librarian will probably be the best bet for that one. I mean, the library rather. But the other resources is people just need to connect with business advisor, and you will be hearing lots of them. I mean, Michael is here, Score, Ben is here, Dominic is here as well. We might be talking of the same wording, the same languages, but the important thing is for you to reach out, because then again, as business advisor, we don't know what you need. If you are able to tell us that specific struggle, then we might be able to help you find the resources, the right resources for you. It could just not be one, but it could be multiple resources. But again, always my first bet is, what's the nearest library? Where is your nearest library? Go there, ask for help. They will be able to help you navigate through this one. Because again, they have the people, they have the technology. I mean, there, two things that you need right away. And
people,
then
technology, knowledge, experience, and willing to help. Like those are librarians. They're the same ones that was in our schools when we was growing up.
Yeah,
those are the ones that's in the library now. So
and then we advisor, we can come in and tailor fit what you have learned from the librarian or from the library itself, from that hands-on experience, and then we could enhance it. See, that's kind of like the community that we have right now. We try to support each other with whatever resources. And I'm hoping that big companies as well will be able to, fund all the things that we're doing right here, because these are for small businesses. Without the small businesses, I mean, this big company, we try to support each other.
Yes, I agree. I want to turn it over to Toby. Toby, one of the things that I'm curious about is, do you have any examples of like effective partnerships that you've had in this hotspot program with the Seattle Public Library?
Yeah, and as Anissa said, it's been going on for I don't know, 7 years now. So we've
that part
a lot of different partners that we've worked with. In the beginning, we were lending directly to individuals, and we were working with, low-income residents at Seattle Housing Authority. We were working with folks in some of the tiny house villages, and a bunch of different groups like that. And over the pandemic, just because we didn't have that personal connection, we weren't able to do that. We kind of shifted the model to work directly with organizations. So that's what we're doing right now. We lend directly to an organization and sort of they support their programs that way. So one of them that we've worked with is Via Comunitaria over in South Park. And they do so many programs over there. They're such great people connecting their residents to all kinds of resources. That included digital literacy skills trainings. Often somebody from the library, like myself, would go and talk about what library resources could help them in their learning or what they wanted to do with their lives. But something that happened just over the past couple of years is they've been working on food justice and food access issues. And a group of those people started working on building a co-op model and trying to figure out like what local farming looks like and how they could leverage that to some kind of entrepreneurial skill. So they've been learning business models, they've been learning financial literacy with the help of the hotspots that we've checked out. And they're also looking to develop some kind of CSA model.
I love it. And I do see that the hotspot, the El Centro de la Raza have been using the hotspot. So that's a great partnership there. Listen, for those of you that are online or even those that are here in the Zoom, we are moving on to our next panel. These panels are moving pretty fast. We want you to hear from a myriad of folks. And so I want to say thank you to Nadia. Thank you, Giselle. Thank you, Toby. If you want to hear more from Toby, Giselle, and Nadia, please join the Zoom, because we will have breakout sessions where you can talk and speak more to all of these amazing speakers, okay? We're just giving you a little taste, like a little appetizer, and you got to come in the Zoom to get the rest, all right? So getting to our next panel of amazing people. So the first person I want to introduce to you all, who happens to be somebody I haven't seen in a while, but as soon as I saw his name, I was like, okay, that's my cousin. No, but hey, Michael, we have Michael Irving. Please introduce yourself. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Jennifer Ness. And Jennifer Ness, it has been a long time, but I have been following you all the time. You are so great.
Thank you.
I am a SCORE mentor. I've been with SCORE since 1996. I have been all over the Seattle area in doing SCORE functions. I am currently the branch leader for Snohomish and Island County SCORE. And I work with a lot of wonderful groups, including our sister organization, the Small Business Development Center, and Giselle. Thank you for Giselle's service. We work with everybody. We're free mentors. We have workshops online, tons and tons of them. We have resources, all kinds of things for someone who's thinking about starting a small business, thinking about growing their small business, or just wanting to run it better. So we are available and we are a free service. Thank you, Giselle.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer Ness.
I'll be Giselle. I'm cool with that. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for being here. Next, we have Yvette Aguilera and Victor Cardena. Hi.
Hello, Jennifer Ness. How are you?
Hi, doing well. How y'all doing this morning?
We're doing well. We're excited to be here with you guys and able to talk a little bit more about El Centro's opportunities and be able to be here to talk about the different business resources.
Please explain what that is and just introduce yourselves.
Yeah, of course. Well, my name is Yvette Aguilera, and I am the program coordinator for El Centro de la Raza's Business Opportunity Center. What do we do in El Centro de la Raza? We help businesses grow, all the way from helping from the first stages all the way to existing. So we have like entrepreneurship course and do technical assistance as well.
Thank you.
Hi, Jennifer Ness. How are you? Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm very, very excited to be here with you. I love these open houses all the time. Well, my name is Victor Sardeneta, and I work with Yvette as well at the Centro de la Raza. I'm the Business Opportunity Center Manager. And as Yvette well said, we help entrepreneurs and small business owners, like through all the stages that they go through, like opening and expanding their businesses through businesses and different programs as well, so they can have like all the resources that they need.
Thank you so much, Victor. Next, we have Dominique Julian. Welcome, Dominique.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having me. Yes, Dominique Julian with with Business Impact Northwest. I'm the Chief Program Officer here and representing more of the amazing resources. We run a Washington Women's Business Center that's focused on supporting women entrepreneurs with classes, coaching, and training, as well as a Veterans Business Outreach Center focused on veteran and military connected entrepreneurs needs. We have some food-focused folks in our FBRC, which also focuses on some farms as well. And then we also have lending. So we have a lot of resources around really getting people supported in accessing lending as well here at Business Impact Northwest. So really excited to be here and just talk about all of this great topic.
Thank you, Dominique. And then lastly, for this particular panel, we have Marisol Hopper. Marisol, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marisol Tapia Hopper, and I'm with the Workforce Development Council of Seattle King County.
Thank you for being here. So we want to get right into it. I want to start with Yvette. Yes. When you talk about El Centro de la Raza, first thing that comes to my mind is you all have, a target market, which is probably Spanish speaking, right? And maybe Spanish is their first language. I'm not sure. You can tell us more about that. But what are some of the gaps that you see in digital equity? And what are some of the things that you're doing to bridge those gaps?
Yeah, of course, definitely. So yes, I think one of our largest clients or our target market tends to be that we cater towards the Latino community, and a lot of them do speak Spanish. So one thing that we did notice is that there's a huge language barrier. A lot of immigrants who come to this country, they want to create jobs, they want to be able to help support our community, and so they have a dream of creating these businesses. However, they don't have the resources or the knowledge, and then it's not in their language, right? And so one thing that we've been doing at El Centro de la Raza is being able to make sure that all these different resources that are available, a lot of them don't know about the hotspots, they don't know about the free resources with SCORE, with the Small Business Development Center, that we're be able to communicate with them that, hey, there are these resources and they can be in Spanish, or we can help you translate them into Spanish. As far as digital equity goes, we actually have an entrepreneurship course that we do in Spanish. And we actually were listening to a lot of our business owners that were saying, hey, we don't really know how to really navigate COVID right now. How can we use technology in order to help, promote our businesses? And so we actually modified our entrepreneurship course to actually add a little bit more of digital equity into it. And so our entrepreneurship course now that's in Spanish also has information about digital access and like, what does that look like for entrepreneurs that are just starting out.
Thank you for sharing that. One thing I know is that Marisol has been looking at ways that we can kind of map the digital equity resources across the state. Or Seattle, King County area. Can you speak to that, Marisol, and tell us a little bit more about what you guys are doing and how people can access that information?
Absolutely. So in the fall of 2021, the Workforce Development Council of Seattle, King County, in partnership with the City of Seattle Office of Refugee and Immigrant Affairs, started an effort to map existing and emerging digital literacy programs with the purpose to support local communities, job seekers, and also community-based organizations identify existing programs that are offering either basic computer training, providing devices to members of the community, and who is providing, for example, in-person or virtual classes. We noticed that there was a gap and a need for us to just join efforts, and this work continues to be ongoing, but through this work, we have identified and mapped 17 programs. Wow. The goal will be to share this resource with all of you and partners sometime in July or early August, which will allow organizations, community members to sort and filter by, who's providing, like I said, in-person services, who is providing devices, who is actually maybe providing classes in other languages. So yeah, if you know about a program that I should know of, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to reach out to them. But I'll put my email in the chat.
Thank you so much. I think you should be working with Lisa at the Micro Enterprise. What is it? No, Washington Micro Enterprise, whatever. Lisa Smith. She has a new program called BizLink. I don't know if you all have heard of that yet, but you should be on BizLink because that is, there you go. Thank you, Giselle. Thank you, Yvette. I couldn't think of the acronym. I'm like, Washington
State Micro Enterprise Association.
Bam, there it is. You should definitely be working with Lisa. Make sure that this platform is on BizLink and people are getting more visibility because that's the whole purpose of her BizLink. So yes, please make those connections with her. That just came to my head while I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. I want to move over to Michael. Why is digital equity so important to the survival of small businesses, especially post-COVID? I heard Yvette talk about, folks coming during COVID and they've already revamped some things there. And I heard Marisol talk about what they're doing. But why is it so important? Why should these small business owners know the extent of the importance of digital equity?
Yeah, that's a phenomenal question. I think first to frame that is you have to understand that small business is defined as less than 500 employees. Mm-hmm. And so that's 98% of the businesses in the state of Washington. That's like 600,000 businesses in Washington. And the pandemic transformed our social system. We've pushed so much online. And so in order to compete, small businesses are going to need to be able to access their communities online. It's not necessarily that people are going to be able to walk down to your business. They need a safe methodology to access you. They want to buy your stuff. They want to consume your stuff. And in order to do that, in order to reach that new marketplace, you really need to have access and knowledge of the technology. And if you're not, you'll find that your business won't be able to compete. Even SCORE, even the SBDC, look at all of the things that we've moved online. The Washington State Business Fair is now online. All of that stuff, it provides a broader reach and a safer reach. And so COVID really kind of drove us to that level.
Yeah, thank you for that. I wanted to kind of talk to Dominique. I know we are pressed for time. These panels are going by like, blah, 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 blah. But I heard what Michael said. I heard what Yvette said. I heard what Marisol said. And I'm wondering, when we talk about digital equity, we just think about the digital divide or the tools. But what are some unexpected barriers that people don't even think about? They're like, digital, digital, digital. But what are the barriers to the digital?
Yeah, I mean, and I think Giselle talked about one was access, but I would really say there's time. Like business owners are pressed for time, and when you especially if you're under resourced, you're not outsourcing, you're doing everything yourself. And so when we really talk about digital equity, we're talking about business owners working on their businesses and really taking the time to learn new tools or implement new tools or hire people to implement those new tools. And if you don't have that time to even just research and figure out what's the right tool, you're not going to be able to access these things. And so I think that that's kind of an unexpected one when I'm working with clients, that we have to actually do some time management pieces and really sort of help them focus their energies and really figure out which of these tools are going to be the right, and then spend the time to learn those. And what can they let go of?
Yeah.
So that they can make time for these
They
important
got to think
things.
about those opportunity costs. So the last question is for Victor. It's a similar question. I'm curious about any other barriers that you've identified when working with clients and small business owners.
Yeah, well, first of all, Jennifer, is basically the barrier of the language with us, like because we have like more like the Spanish speakers here coming to El Centro and asking for resources. But other is basically as well like the access to this equipment. So we're trying to get them and refer them to other programs that even El Centro has. Like for example, I can think of Unidos at Work, which is a program that actually teaches them, like how to learn to use like a computer, a laptop, because they even they don't know how to use these devices, right? So we provide them these devices so they can actually like practice through these trainings. And then after that, like, if they are trying to open a business or they are trying to look for resources, a capital for their businesses. So there's where we refer them to the different organizations that we partner with. But basically that's like another barrier that we find for them is basically accessing resources for them having an IT number, So they are IT holders. So that's a huge barrier there also there that we are facing, like with all our participants. So it's a little bit hard for us to find those resources, and even more difficult for them, So we are trying to, through all these partnerships that we're doing with all the organizations, to actually get them a little bit easier for them to get.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Yvette, Victor, Michael, Dominique, and Marisol. I will say with the I-10 resources, the Seattle Credit Union helps folks to actually get their I-10 for free and provide lots of I-10 products and tools. And so definitely reach out to Seattle Credit Union, and there's others too, but this is a space that we are very, very strong in. So definitely very grateful for the partnerships we have with all the folks on this line. And thank you so much. If you are interested in speaking more to these beautiful folks, definitely hang around for the breakout rooms, because you can speak more and get more of your questions answered. I know we have limited amount of time. I'm just giving you a little teaser, a little appetizer, and then you can get a little more in a moment. All right. So we are moving on to our final panel discussion. This particular panel is talking more about those barriers. We ended that panel with barriers, but we're going to talk about what is missing, what is coming, and what digital navigator training is available. Ain't that what you guys are interested in? If so, just type yes in the chat so I can know that you're still with me. Don't be walking away while I'm talking, okay? So type yes in the chat if you are interested in understand what's missing, what's coming, and some additional resources like digital navigator training. While you are doing that, I introduced you all to Angela earlier, but she's going to speak more. So Angela, welcome. Tell them a little bit about you and why you can speak to these particular topics. What's missing and what's coming?
Even though I would have considered myself pretty digitally literate over the years, working with video and websites and always being very focused on communication tools in the work I've done. When the pandemic hit, everything that we're talking about here, when the pandemic hit, it doubled, tripled the intention and focus that I felt we needed to have in order to bring businesses, to really highlight businesses, making sure those businesses had access to some of these tools and resources we're talking about here. So in March of 2020, particularly in working with the Seattle, South Seattle businesses, other small community-based organizations that I work with and connect you to, we decided to really come together. So typically there are so many of our programs, we're working in silos in a way where we've got our focused community, maybe the library, public library being the most available, the most known and accessible to communities. But some of these other smaller organizations that are out here doing the work and building bridges to small businesses are maybe less known. And I feel like like I said, in 2020, we being Beacon Business Alliance, Mount Baker Hub Alliance, small community-based organizations that are really focused on neighborhood, hyper-local support, just all the way from Beacon Hill to Rainier Beach, we decided to come together and bring our the bridges that we've built and the connections we made in each one of these neighborhoods come together and pull it together. We have a website right now that is.
I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back after we introduce everybody.
Oh, sorry. It was just an introduction. I apologize. And I'm talking too fast for our interpreters. So I will, next time you talk to me, I'll slow it down.
Okay. Thank you, Angela. The next person on this panel is Will Booth. Will Booth, welcome. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Inde Willawalu, Sigaram Hananax, Wildewayu. Kan hara tegu para di hoksku, Gitlan di with Natalu para Tiano, Metlakatla di with Watwatku, Ti Aro di with Dogo, Clack you get Clackyam Dipduash, Waiwa. And for the translators, I will post this in chat. So what I said in my native language of Somaliac is that I am Will. I am Gitlan of the Tsimshian Nation from northern British Columbia in southeast Alaska, where I grew up. And I currently live here in the Seattle area, ancestral land of the Dipduash or the Duwamish. I am one of the program managers and trainers for T3 Tribal Technology Training, where we provide training around digital equity, software, hardware, programs, things of that nature to the Native communities throughout Washington State and other communities. In addition, I work with First Nation Foundation, another Native nonprofit where we work with young artists trying to break into the art industry, whether it be as a small business or as an individual, but how do they navigate those complex waters of the art world from an Indigenous perspective?
Thank you, Will. We will speak more about that when we get into your questions. Next, we have Mira Jo. Mira Jo, Welcome, Mary Jo.
Thank you, Jennifer Ness. My name is Mira Jo from Seattle. I teach in Seattle, City of Seattle Information Technology Department, and I'm a digital advisor there, digital equity advisor there. And my role is to oversee digital equity grants for nonprofit organizations, including a Digital Navigator cohort grant to fund digital navigators in the community at nonprofits. We work primarily with residents and nonprofit organizations, but we can answer any questions about cable operators and internet service providers if you're a business and have questions about that.
Thank you, Mary Jo. Next, we have Anissa. Anissa, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anissa Kashbaktian. I work for the Office of Economic Development at the City of Seattle. I'm the technology and creative sector advocate. I do more workforce development programming, but I do have a program that lives in the small business team. A lot of my work is focused on digital equity. I could save it for later, but my work, as well as just a lot of the work in our department, everything, if I rewind, everything has an race equity lens to it. And it has been a big focus of ours to looking at digital equity, because that's the thing. Like we saw in the pandemic that businesses, that one of the biggest barriers was things that had to do with technology. So
For
yeah.
sure. Thank you. It's Anissa.
Yes.
Okay, I said it wrong the first time.
It's okay.
Welcome, Elizabeth. Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Yaukia. I'm the newest member of the Seattle Public Library team here that you've already heard from, working with Jay, Nadia, and Toby. And I'm the Workforce Development and Adult Basic Education Librarian, program manager here. I'm not used to not having librarian in my title anymore. I'm thrilled to be here and just thriving off your energy. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Mary Jo, I want to start with you. You started talking a little bit about Seattle's IT digital equity team. What research and data is available to kind of better understand the digital equity gaps and the needs in our different communities?
Thanks. And so, yes, on our website, which is seattle.gov/tech, we do have some data and research on digital equity gaps and needs. We have the city's technology access and adoption study. This has been published since 2000, every 4 to 5 years. And the study identifies barriers that prevent residents from using technology. Right now, planning is underway to update our community data, gather community input, and develop recommendations for the upcoming survey. We also have the city's Internet for All report in response to COVID-19. It captures the gaps that were exacerbated by the pandemic and also outlines the city's action plan to enable all residents to access and adopt broadband internet service that is reliable and affordable. So we're not just focused on connecting people to the internet. We want to make sure that it is a reliable and affordable connection.
Thank you. You took me right to Anissa. Anissa, at the Seattle OED, the Office of Economic Development, tell us a little bit about what you're doing, your digital equity efforts, and how folks can know what the City of Seattle is doing.
Sure. So there's quite a lot that we do, and I can speak to both small business and workforce development. On the small business side, we have been looking at the specific needs related to digital equity. So one of them is having to do with small businesses needing point of sale systems. So we have a digital sales access program that is focused on supporting small businesses and getting those point of sale systems. And we work with Square. And so one of the features is that businesses are eligible to receive a free point of sale system. And we are working with another organization, Cardena, who does all the training and supports those businesses in understanding the point of sale system, or if there's businesses who have existing point of sale systems and need to understand it. So they work with them. That's all on their website. I can put the links in the chat. Another program is kind of a crossover program with my work is the Youth Web Design Program, where young people, high school students are taught website design. And this is in partnership with the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle. And so currently the young people are students at Garfield High School. They're taught website design, and as a final project, they make a website for a local small business, and we pay them for their work.
And all of these services are no cost to business owners, right?
Free. Yes.
People don't realize that there's so much out there, but if you don't know, you don't know. So that's the beautiful thing. I saw it, John. Calm down.
Okay, good. Let me know when you're ready.
We also have one more person that we're going to add to. We're just stuffing folks on this panel, okay? We got John Glenn. Also, he's from Sea King WorkSource. So John, can you introduce yourself and the resources that you all have?
Yeah, not a problem. Good morning, everyone. And my name is John Glenn. I am the Director of Business Relations and Workforce Solutions for the WorkSource Seattle King County system. I get to oversee the Business Services Program, which actually falls under the Workforce Development Council. And then my customer is business, all business, small, big, everything, and is to help them navigate the public workforce system. And of course, WorkSource is not an entity. There's no such thing as WorkSource, the organization. We are a consortium of partners, of which many are on this call: government, education, and community-based organizations. And then so we want to make sure, I work in the workforce side of the fence. So that's, again, helping businesses engage with recruiting, retention, and reduction resources that are available for them that are taxpayer funded, and a lot of time helping them navigate to all the awesome partners on this call when they have other questions. So, and I will pause there.
Thank you so much, John. One thing that resonated with me that you said, and that I've heard throughout this business resource open house that I want to make super prevalent for the folks here, is that a lot of these resources are no cost. It's just folks don't know that they are available. And that is the purpose of the business resource open house, so that we can bring these resources to you to help you elevate your business when we already know, like Dominique said, you're already wearing a zillion different hats. We already know that time is an issue, that time is a barrier. And so if you connect with some of these resources on this call, you can actually get things done in a more efficient way, right? So I do want to talk to Will. Will, what are some of the most common issues or questions that you've been asked in regards to technology with the T3 tribal technology training?
Thank you. One of the more common ones is, why can't I do this on my phone? And one thing that we're seeing is with everything that's happening with the integration of technology and access to the different platforms, smartphones are very smart. However, if the interface or the system you're trying to access, like say a job application, your unemployment benefits, your health benefits, they're not designed to transfer that formatting onto a smartphone. So you only get half a screen. You only get that little bit. And so it's really complicated for many users to navigate from a smartphone into those systems. So we work with other organizations like Washington State Library, Seattle Public Library, other community-based nonprofits who are offering things like laptops, tablets that you can actually view those websites and complete those applications. The other real common one is we're hearing, especially with households with school-aged youth, the parents don't have laptops, so they take the school-issued laptop from the student to do that because they can't access it on their smartphone.
So then that takes away the digital equity from the student, because the parent has things to do and they're like, my stuff is more important than yours right now. And so the child doesn't have access to the computer. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. And when the school year ends.
Thank you for sharing that, John. I'm sorry, I called you John. I meant to say Will. That brings a little bit more perspective on the different digital access issues inside of the home. I do want to go over to Angela. I know time is of the essence. So you have a digital navigator program. Can you talk a little bit about that and who's eligible for that and who can't? And I know a lot of these small business owners is like, yeah, no, that ain't happening. But tell us a little bit about it and how they can maybe access someone who has the training.
Good question. I know that I kind of launched off a little bit earlier into this, and I really wanted to set the stage to say a lot of the folks here today are much more versed in the term, what is a digital navigator? What does that really look like? What is that role? And I've been learning about that, and over the last couple of years been able to work with, through equity and education coalitions, cohort Connect-Wa, to really immerse myself in this, and also with T3 training with Will, who's here with us today, to get into some of these trainings to understand how to really work with community and the digital literacy and digital access needs. I'm doing digital navigator work on the ground as I assess the needs of a small business, if they need a pad or if some of the things that Will was talking about. So I just really credit a lot of the folks here for the programs that are being run and refined to really provide access. The training that we're trying to launch this summer is really focused on the digital navigator who will be working with small businesses versus somebody who's working with families and the wide range. So we're focusing in on those typical needs that a small business might be facing, having an awareness of the partners that we need to be connected to that can provide those pads or those the other providers that we're working with here. So we're kind of building bridges. And so that's what Digital Navigator is. So what does that mean? Well, you have to have the tenets of a digital navigator. What are those? When you're working with a small business, that owner that may require language support, that may are facing some of these barriers. That training will be a while before it's available. I think the focus is, for me today, right now, is to say employers need to know what that digital navigator role is. And employers today are forced, just like small businesses today, are forced to really understand what it means to be online. And
okay, so they can get more information about the training that's probably going to roll out in July by reaching out to you, Angela.
Yeah, we're also doing another training for BIPOC web producers to learn a little bit more about how we're doing, for instance, the format here today, working with interpreters, doing live in language translation, having multiple screens up so that this kind of access becomes more of the norm in online meetings. And so some of these trainings you can find, and I'll put it in the chat right now.
Thank you. Thank you. I actually went through that training and learned a ton. So I would highly recommend it. And I do know that Angela is able to give out some scholarships to be able to do that. So highly recommend that. Thank you so much, Angela. We are pressed for time. I do have a question for you, John. You talked about some of the partners and the consortium and the folks that are connected to you all. How do we get connected to those?
Great question. There's two different pathways. One is there's a job seeker pathway and then the business pathway. So on the WorkSource Seattle King County site, there is a business services page. That's where myself and my team are. The three general workforce areas are recruiting, retention, and reductions. Small businesses may not know that, for example, if they need to lay somebody off or it's an ESL, that we have a program set up that we can help. Most people think layoffs are like large Boeing, where we lay off, help support over 3,000 layoffs? We do, but it's also designed equitably for a small business that just needs a quick resource where they need to be able to go somewhere real quickly. And we have virtual layoff presentations. Also recruiting, which is a big one too, is businesses may not know that the state's job board, WorkSource Law, is taxpayer funded, and it's designed for a small business all the way up to a large business. And there's a program internally in there where businesses can just source talent for the thousands of job seekers that have their resumes posted in there. In today's labor, it is a tough one. Third piece is then again, helping them navigate all of the workforce partners from all the different community colleges, community-based organizations, and connecting them to those organizations geographically. So some partners on the call, like indirect partners like Centro de la Raza, the library has resources, is getting them where they need to go. And
Thank you so much.
That's it.
Yeah, thank you. I know, Elizabeth, we heard from your colleagues and they gave us some good information about the hotspots and things like that. What if you could just close with some of the other available resources at the library that's going to increase digital access? Which ones would you highlight?
Sure, thank you, Jennifer Ness. Well, first, resources for individual people who want to learn for their own digital skills. My favorite one lately is North Star. All Washingtonians basically, and it's a digital skills training platform. It stands out from some of the others in that you can actually create an account and track your progress on that. It also is unique in that it has assessments, which can help you really zero in on your specific skills gaps, and then there are resources to help you learn the skills that you're missing. And you can actually take the assessment again and earn a certificate. Another one is so that resource right now, unfortunately, I'm going to drop a whole bunch of links in the chat here. But that first one at the top there is a great resource if you're a non-native English speaker, because it has a lot more digital skills training resources available. This was my former role at the state library. I created this page to help people find non-English digital skills training resources. So I've made notations there, what different languages are available. And then also there are some other digital inclusion resources like finding devices, low cost internet, things like that. The third link there is for LinkedIn Learning, which if you don't know, this is, I'm sorry, one of the highest value things I think you can get from your library. So if you don't already know, if you're in Washington State, your local library has provide you with free access to LinkedIn Learning. Third link there, I think, is for the specific Seattle Public Library one. You do need to use the library card that matches the library you're trying to access through. So there's a list there. If you don't have a Seattle Public Library card, there's a state library page that you can go to your county and find out which library has access. But they have hundreds, thousands of courses offered in 7 different languages, covering tons of business, marketing topics, technology, if you want to learn to code or whatever, and a lot of creative topics as well. So those are some of my favorites. Yeah.
Thank you for those. You know what, I am so glad you mentioned LinkedIn Learning, because there are so many different topics that you can get on there. And if you don't have this particular membership, you'll be paying for that. And so that's $40 a month benefit. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Mira Jo. Thank you, Anissa. Thank you, John. Listen, this is not over. It's actually over for you folks that are on social media. But for the folks that are here in the Zoom, this continues. We are going into breakout sessions. We are going to be able to talk more to these folks who you've seen on the panel. That's why we just wanted to give you that introduction, so that as we go into these breakout rooms, you'll have some more meaningful conversations in the smaller setting. So look at here what Mari's doing. Ooh, okay. Put the library at the center of it. I love it. Digital divide. Very nice. Listen, I always love to see the end result of what she's creating, because it's like, man, she captured pretty much everything. So I just want to tell you all that it is now 10:13. We are going to cut the live